So the new relationship status on social media is self-love. People are abandoning their special love relationships and they now love themselves. I'm here to challenge you on that concept. You cannot love yourself. There's no such thing as self-love. If you're going to use the word self correctly, capital S self, the Atman, the one indivisible self, the true self, the Christ self, the holy self, the Holy Son of God self. Holy Son of God self doesn't love himself, but knows he is love. Can't love yourself. You recognize yourself as love. There's no one to love. Love is not an activity. It's not an action. It's not a projection. Cannot I love you? It's just I am. I am is love. You don't even have to say I am love. God is love. God, the word God means love. Love is God. God is love. Christ means love. Self means love. The Holy Self, the Holy Spirit self means love. Not the Holy Spirit loves me. Holy Spirit is love. I abide where? In love, in God, in the energy, all pervading energy, the Tao, God, Brahman. We abide in love. Self-love is not something you can do. You can't self-love. You recognize yourself as love, as the love of God. What we can do and must do and should do is accept this as my temporal, ethereal projection, my misperception of self. But when I recognize the true essence of myself as love, I am. Now, this is a transcendence process. You're letting go of identity and moving into pure awareness. What is the awareness of? Awareness of awareness itself. In two words, I am awareness. It's not I am awareness. I am is awareness. I am is Christ. I am is God. One indivisible beingness, forever extending as the I am, as love, as light, as peace. Now, it's a wonderful concept, and there's lots written about it. Self-love. It's just self-acceptance. The minute you start putting labels to it and steps to it and categories to it, you fall back into the delusion of the mind. And then it's self-love, and we're now going to go off on a retreat, or we're going to go off to get ourselves pampered and shampooed and hair and massaged and self-love. Now, that's body pleasuring. Looking in the mirror, I love you. You can't love that. I am love. You don't need to look in the mirror to do that. The minute you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at a projection, an objectification of. It's the same thing. You can't love God. It's impossible to love God because then you're back into duality, you and God, and now you're projecting love. God is the love with which we love. God is the love with which is what we are. Can't love Jesus. Jesus became the Christ. Christ is love. Christ is the love that calls all its fractured selves to be love knowingly. The greatest disservice we did and do to the man 2,000 years ago who transcended the physicality, transcended duality into the unity awareness, is to call Jesus by any other name than Christ. And every other character in the dream that is awoken to self is a Christ too. It's a Christian mystic term. The Buddha became the Buddha. What was his name? Ramana Maharishi became Atman Brahman. It's the same thing. Jesus is now Christ. So when you think Jesus is talking to you, it's the self talking to you. The holy self, the Christ mind, communicating with all its fractured selves. The mind which fell asleep, a part of it woke up. That part that woke up, we call the right mind. Right mind is Christ mind. Christ mind is awake mind. It's the part of the mind that knows it's one indivisible self with God. The part of the mind that is asleep is projecting the characters, both the spirit world and the physical world. The Christ mind is aware of all of it. And it intercedes through its holy essence energy, Holy Spirit. Intercedes because it's able to access the dream while being awakened to God. The Holy Spirit is aware of the essence energy, which we call God, and is aware of the dream content of the dreaming mind. Yet a part of that mind's awake. It's Christ's mind. So stop referring to Jesus. Refer to Christ for love's sake or for Christ's sake. If you're offended, practice forgiveness. It's not I that need correction, this projection of you. It's your projection that needs correction if you're offended. I'm trying to bring you into the reality of the truth we are. Not here to offend you, unless you think you're being offended, in which case I am actually a mirror trying to show you the love you are by practicing forgiveness until nothing triggers you ever again. So coming back to the topic of self-love. Self-love is self-acceptance, the acceptance of this and what appears, and the realization that all of it is love. Now, these are all wonderful words, but until you've transcended it through the direct experience of the self, these remain in the realm of concepts, ideas, beliefs, and eventually dogma. And then someone's going to take it, sounds amazing. Next, you know, you have a book, and the book becomes a religion and becomes a cult. There's no need for fellowship or following. This is free. Abide in it. Abide in silent stillness and be thyself knowingly, and realize the self knows all there is to know, but it knows no thing, because there's no thing to be known by that which is no thing, yet it is everything. People, places, things, and events, activities of the dreaming mind is nothing, yet what cannot be seen is everything. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. What's the peace of God? Our true essence, our true nature, our essential nature. If you break it down to raw basics, to the raw essential, what's left? The I am, the essence, the shared essence with everything, the shared essence with the self. And as it becomes itself all knowing of itself, it becomes aware of awareness, aware of the awareness it is, the I am, Christ mind. And it's through recognizing and realizing the self I am that we recognize our true essential nature, and therefore our true essential nature is the extension of God's true essential nature. Through knowing the self, we know the Father. I and my Father are one. Be you that knowingly. Stop there.